if people are just complacent or whether we should go somewhere. I'm not sure. First time you hear it, very intimidating. You can see inside here. Son, Budmo. We can hear some rockets now. They're quite a long distance away, I can tell by the sound. That's at least 40 kilometers away, but still you can hear it kind of like thunder. We've got a air raid alert here. But to be honest, if they were going to hit our district, thankfully they haven't and they won't. Hopefully. It's like 33 seconds, well it's 43 seconds to the centre from Russia for the rockets, so to here it's probably about 39 seconds. So to be honest, the first 30 seconds of an air raid siren was the scariest. Can hear it again now. It's probably too far away to be picked up on the camera, but I could hear kind of like thunder, or like a big lorry. Like imagine a big lorry goes past your house in the morning, and you can feel it. It's kind of like that. So we're fully packed basically, no guys leaving. It's a shame. So yeah, lived here for like a year. We paid just over £100 a month for it. It's a shame we have to leave, but it's all not very safe or pleasant to live here at the moment. So we've been here 5 days, and 3 of these days we've had attacks, rocket attacks. So a couple of nights, like we've been here 4 nights. 2 nights we've had attacks, 2 nights we haven't. So it's not awfully pleasant to sleep knowing that overhead there's rockets flying. Which is why we have to, unfortunately, give up our beloved flat. But I'm glad that we've had a chance to come back and get our stuff. I didn't see that happening back in March, so yeah, that's good. So we're going out to the station. We're going to stay in Kharkiv 5 days. But yeah, time to get out now. It's been a little bit crazy. So yeah, goodbye Kharkiv. We're gonna definitely miss this place. Just where we're going now, there was a attack a couple of days ago. Very good hotel where we used to stay. We're gonna see if we can see it. С той стороны не так плохо, как я ожидал. Train now from Kharkiv to Kyiv. A little bit nervous about it because obviously there's rockets flying, absolute random notice, but she'll be okay. leaving Kharkiv now. We've just heard the couple of bombs go off, a couple of attacks near the centre, so it's a little bit nervous. As I found out about half an hour later by looking at a post on Telegram, the explosions were actually an attack about 5 kilometers away from our flat up in northern Kharkiv, and it was an attack involving some mines. So I don't exactly understand it so much, but as far as I understand, it was an explosion, basically like some artillery fired over, and inside the artillery there's mines dropped over a village. So yeah, I was pretty nervous filming that's why I didn't film on the train. I was very, very nervous, obviously, as you would be if you can hear that kind of stuff as you're getting onto a train. But yeah, we got out okay. We got to Kyiv fine in the end. So guys, I'm in Kyiv again. Got back today from Kharkiv. Very good to be back in Kyiv. Bit of a relief actually getting back from Kharkiv okay. We had a big scare this morning on the train. A couple of some shelling literally at the same time as we were leaving. It was about 10 miles away luckily, but still you can hear it and your thoughts kind of going. So yeah, feeling quite relieved about getting out of Kharkiv okay. And yeah, just had a KFC actually. KFC still works. Better than the British KFC even. So yeah, back in central Kyiv. And as much as I like Kyiv, being here after being in Kharkiv always makes me so appreciative of Kharkiv. It always makes me, I like Kyiv as a capital city, but generally I don't like capital cities. I don't like massive megacities. I like cities like Kharkiv. 1.5 million people, like a very, very, very big village. As you come to Kyiv, you realise it's a kind of world city. You've got people from everywhere. It's quite anonymous. You go to Kharkiv, there's just something about it, like a kind of more of a sense of community, which is quite weird in a city of 1.5 million people. So like a city the size of Manchester, even bigger than Manchester, and you still have this kind of village feel. So yeah, we've got the Dnipro here, some barge in between. Got some public beaches. I'm going to go see if they're open. I heard a couple of scare stories about them being maybe mined. I don't know. Yeah, this district over here to the north, it's very trendy. It's called Podil. Lots of bars around here as well. This is Pochta Ploshcha, I believe. The post, like the postman's square. And yeah, it's quite an expensive part of the city, to be honest. It's quite cheap compared to Western Europe these days with the exchange rate, but I'd say up until like 6 months ago, it wasn't awfully cheap. Compared to London, it's still quite cheap, but I'd say it probably worked out before about £3-4 a beer, probably £8-9 a cocktail. It's same as a lot of kind of northern English towns. Oh, anywhere outside of London, basically. And by the way, guys, if you come to Ukraine anytime soon, if you're planning on coming, I wouldn't recommend going to certain parts, but there's certain parts of Ukraine I'd say relatively safe, especially Western Ukraine. But yeah, bring cash. For two reasons, basically why I should bring cash. First of all, it's a lot better, it's a lot cheaper. Like, not a lot cheaper, it's like 20% cheaper if you have cash. So in all of Ukraine, in Kyiv, in everywhere you go, there's an official exchange rate, and when you pay card, you get the official exchange rate. Don't forget that if you have a foreign card, you're going to get commission on that as well, and the exchange rate's probably going to be even lower than the official exchange rate. I recommend, obviously, have your card for kind of like, just as a alternative sort. It's always good to have a bit of diversity in terms of when you're paying, just in case one thing gets stolen. And also, cash is king in terms of emergencies. And I wouldn't say now there's this emergency mentality anymore, but the first few days there was definitely an emergency mentality, and everybody goes into a kind of cash mentality. And whoever had a lot of cash got out okay. People who didn't have cash also generally got out okay, but it was a lot more stressful. So people who had cash got out straight away. You could go with physical cash, especially in dollars or pounds or euros, and you could do anything it takes. Cards weren't always working. There's a lot of instability around the banks and the exchange rate. Nobody wanted card, everyone wanted cash. So just in case there's like another emergency, in case, I don't know, the situation escalates very fast and there's a mass exodus, people head for the borders, cash will help in that situation. So definitely, guys, don't come to Ukraine without cash. It's definitely worthwhile. It's financially more beneficial, and also in case of emergency, it's definitely going to help you out. So one thing I've actually learnt on this trip is how much safety and danger very much relative notions. So do they even exist, safe places or dangerous places, or is it just safer than I am now or more dangerous than I am now? So for example, I know Romania, you go to not most people, quite a lot of people in England, you say, oh yeah, weekend in Romania, you come in, whoa, Romania, it's a bit dodgy, innit, over there? That was our first destination on this trip. It's not dodgy at all. People in Romania, Kyiv, Western Ukraine, is dangerous. Went to the ticket office in Romania, can I get 2 tickets to Western Ukraine? Whoa, are you sure? Like there's a war going on, you know? So yeah, Western Ukraine is dangerous to Romanians. To Western Ukrainians, Kyiv's dangerous. You know, there's been a attack here already. There's been no attacks in lots of Western Ukrainian cities. So you kind of tell people in Western Ukraine, oh, I'm off to Kyiv tomorrow. Oh, just be careful. People in Kyiv, Kyiv is very safe, but also, yeah, to the people in Kyiv, Romania is safe. To people in Kyiv, Western Ukraine is safe, and Eastern Ukraine, Kharkiv is dangerous. People in Kharkiv, for example, Kyiv is safe. Places in the region are dangerous to people in Kharkiv, like Kupiansk, Izium, cities which have just been kind of deoccupied. They're dangerous to people in Kharkiv. And to be honest, people in these places like Kupiansk and Izium, I don't think there's any places worse. To be honest, I don't think there's any places where they'd look at and say, thank God I'm not there, because these places are absolutely terrible now, unfortunately. Terrible things happening and happening as we speak. But generally, it depends massively on kind of where you are. So safety is very much relative. Like me in Kyiv now. Me in Kyiv last week, I felt a bit dodgy, like after coming from Western Ukraine, coming to Kyiv today, from Eastern Ukraine, feel perfectly safe. So yeah, it's very much relative. And that's what I kind of think of when I feel like I'm in a dangerous situation. I think if somewhere more dangerous and say, what do these guys say about this place? This place is probably safe for them. So in Kyiv now, and it's bloody freezing. It's about 10 degrees but windy. Feels like winter almost. So yeah, gonna go find the metro now and go and just see what the city's like. Not really going to any particular destination. I've seen all the tourist things like 20 times before. Just have a wander around the city and see how things are. Kyiv, one of the most luxurious European cities, I'd say, even despite what's going on. Very, very classy city. It's a huge place as well. Population of 4 million people before the war. Probably the same now almost, I'd say, because more people are coming in from the eastern cities. Of course, some people have left Kyiv because of the war, but they're probably being replaced by people coming in from places like Kharkiv, Donbass. So the plan was to carry on straight to Kharkiv this evening, but at the moment in Kharkiv there's no electricity, no light at all. There was a huge strike on the power station just outside of Kharkiv. Like 3 days ago, the whole east of the country had no electricity at all. It got restored, but then last night, for some reason, it went down again. So there's no light, no electricity in Kharkiv at the moment. So we're going to wait for this to get put back on again. Then we're going to go and guys, when I'm in Ukraine, I literally become a coffee holic because there's so many places to get a coffee, like every square, every street, like 5-10 places, and it's so cheap as well. So I have so much coffee when I'm in Ukraine. Sitting next to the deepest metro station in the world now, Arsenalna. Just been down there. Didn't want to film down inside because there's kind of police with guns, and I don't know. Got a thing about filming inside metro stations in Ukraine after being stuck in one 6 days, and I know they were very, very kind of strict on not filming anything inside the metro station where people are. That's probably not the case now. They're open and now Kyiv's in a bit more normality, but still. I don't know what the situation is like in terms of filming, obviously during wartime and stuff. And yeah, as you can see how modern Kyiv is. So super modern place. Just behind here there's actually McDonald's, but McDonald's don't work anymore since the start of the war. And yeah, it's unbelievable when you see just how modern this place is. Unbelievable to think what's going on. Like I say, Kyiv's not a poor city. I mean, there's a lot of poor people living in Kyiv, but there's a lot of money in Kyiv as well. It's a very luxurious city. I'd say the standards of like restaurants, cafes, bars, you're not going to find higher standards anywhere in the world. It's definitely not a third world city. You find a lot tackier places in the likes of Madrid, Barcelona, even Paris, even London. You find tackier places. Like there's literally no tacky places at all in central Kyiv. It's not so cheap either. I mean, these days it's quite affordable with the exchange rate, but I had a mate living here before the war, and he said like over winter it's like £10 a cocktail easily, £6 a bottle in a nice bar. Cheaper now, of course, but yeah, it's not by no means a poor city, by no means a third world city. Sign of the times, walking into Central Park. There's one of these in the middle. Yeah. Nice park actually, literally right next to the Ukrainian parliament. There's a massive roadblock down there. I don't think any cars can get down at all. It's huge sandbag, like mountains of sandbags, and don't want to film too close. What Kyiv reminds me of right now is on San Andreas. As a kid playing, and you got to like, was it 5 stars or 6 stars? You get to a certain level of stars, and the army take over, and like everywhere you go, it's not the police anymore, it's the army. That's basically what it's like in Kyiv at the moment. Like where you'd expect to see police or guards, you see army, like armed up to the teeth, massive like fortified trucks, like checkpoints and stuff. So yeah, kind of like Kyiv on 5-6 star cops. So you walk down one street and it's literally like you're in Leeds or Manchester. Loads of like nice bars. It's totally normal atmosphere. You walk on the next street and you see this kind of stuff. And you can tell this isn't like a World War II thing. This is it's probably brand new when it was used. And you can even see inside. Wow. Also from the airport just outside Kyiv, lots of bad things happened there. start of March, end of February, start of March. This was how it looked before. State of the art piece of equipment, and then that's it now. You can even see the back. It's literally a bloody rocket in the street. This is a shot down plane, it seems. Unbelievable. Shot down on the 2nd of March. Doesn't say where. I mean, you look at this and it's easy to think like it's something from World War II. Like, you're pretty used to seeing this kind of stuff from like World War II. It's from literally 6 months ago. It's from March. First air raid siren. I just copy what people do, and everyone seems to just be continuing with their life. I know it says you should go into the metro stations, but no one's rushing or anything. But yeah, I don't know if people are just complacent or whether we should go somewhere. I'm not sure. Very intimidating. First time you hear it, very intimidating. Yeah, it's absolutely insane how you can be on that street just there. Literally like, I don't know, Camden Town or somewhere, like trendy streets of Manchester somewhere. You would never ever even imagine what's going on. Then you come to the next street and you're faced with like this. That place.
Скажіть, будь ласка, світову петицію. Доброго вечора. Збираємо підписи проти вбивства живих людей на органи комуністичним режимом. Ви чули таку тему, що зараз всі країни світу підписують петицію, щоб зупинити насилля, яке проводить комуністи?
Я не очень понимаю, я не иностранец.
А вам на какой иностранец откуда?
Так, из Англии.
Англия?
Англия.
Вам, да, у нас есть на английском.
Я просто спешу, у меня сейчас встреча с друзьями. А может потом?
Да?
Спасибо.
Ну, ви дуже гарно розмовляєте.
Спасибо.
А де ви живете?
Йорк.
А, в мене просто Лондон.
Да, Нью-Йорк, Олд Йорк.
Ага, що?
Я возьму.
Так, дякую.
Давайте, нет. О, не.
Це просто подарунок.
Ні.
No one. No.
Oh, it's okay. Don't know if you saw that, but someone tried to. I couldn't really understand, but he said something about sign a petition and then organs in China. So I don't know if it was sign a petition to donate your organs to China, or sign a petition to be against the organ harvested in China. Anyway, I didn't know, but I didn't want to take the risk anyway. I quite like my kidneys. In Ukraine they don't have Starbucks, they have Aroma Kava. It's a massive chain of coffee houses. And yeah, it's relatively cheap. It's like £1 a coffee, maybe even less. And as we can see, no McDonald's in the capital work anymore. They've all closed. There used to be probably hundreds these days actually. Well, at least like probably 20, 30 in Kyiv. I know in Kharkiv we had like at least 15 or maybe 10. And they've all shut. The whole company's pulled out of Kyiv. And as we can see here, this metro station's fully sandbagged. It's a bunker as well, so you don't want the entrance to the bunker being exposed. You can play football here, it seems. KFC's working. Ice cream here. So I'm in the absolute heart of Kyiv now. I've been here quite a few times, well, lots of times actually, but I've never seen it this quiet. So normally there's quite a lot of international tourists, especially in the last 5 years, with the budget flights coming in. Obviously they've all stopped now. So yeah, it's pretty quiet, as you can see. First time I've seen it like this, to be honest. Maybe it's the weather, I don't know. I think probably the fact that there's not many, well, basically no tourists here anymore probably contributes towards why it's so quiet. I love Ukraine, it says. Yeah, Ukraine's got such complex recent history, so you go to countries normally and you look at the history and it's hundreds of years ago. You come to Ukraine and you look at the history and it's like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 days ago, even 5 days ago. It's all very, very recent. Yeah, you can see it's still a very tense situation. It's not gone away. They're keeping the block posts here. They've kept basically everything here, just in case it comes back into the gates of the city. They're prepared. So all of this was put out in the space of like hours. It was so unexpected. And we can see here. All of these spikes. I think on many occasions it was just so makeshift, whatever they could just make do with. Yeah, that's what it's cold. I'm tired, I'm thirsty, and I need the toilet. And there used to be a pretty cool, I'll show you the merchandise these days. There used to be a pretty cool bar literally in the main square. I always used to think been there maybe 10 times. It used to be my first port of call when I came into Kyiv. And Interesting to see if it's still there. Hopefully it is. I remember the prices were always quite reasonable for the location, literally next to the main square of Ukraine. I remember it was never more than like £1.50 a beer. So hopefully it's still there now. Hopefully it's still got the same prices. Let's go see. Seems to be still here. It's the same place. It's open. I doubt it is still open at these prices. That's like, that would be unbelievably cheap if it was, but nah, shit, what a shame. I did expect it. Says here something about the certificate, but I don't know why it's not open today. It looks like it's not been open for a while, because them kind of prices went out of fashion in Kyiv about 5 years ago. If that was the case now, that would be like 60p a beer in the main square, and even I used to pay like £1.50. So we can see the statues here fully sandbagged up. Well, we can see here bullet holes straight through the windscreen. I saw a few cars like this actually in Kharkiv when we were leaving. Maybe some. Also see here too. Bullet holes. This car's been totally blown up. We can see this tank's still falling to pieces here, so even since they've moved it here, it's been crumbling. It's literally just charcoal, a lot of it. This one here as well. So even here, they're on the floor, they're falling to pieces. This is, God knows what it was. Some kind of tank, but half the tank, or most of the tank's gone. Like fully gone. Like I'm literally standing here, what would have been inside the tank. Over here is the Ministerstwo Zakordonnych Spraw Ukrainy, the Minister of Foreign Affairs for Ukraine. These no doubt will have been the tanks heading towards Kyiv. You can see inside here. Probably some of this dust on the floor is cremated skin. The smell even. Even a smell here like charred. God knows what, but you can still smell the char. Says over here, warning, curfew in the capital starts at 11 and finishes at 5 in the morning. So no one can walk about. Says here, please don't ignore the air raid alarms and follow the curfew. Seems to be the main advice given to people coming here. Or given generally to people here. Two significant things you notice, the air raid alarms and the curfew. Oh no word, this cafe we have in Kharkiv, Francois. It's like a kind of French, it's not very French to be honest, but it's a kind of French theme cafe. We can see here another McDonald's closed for the foreseeable future. They've totally pulled out of Kyiv on the first days of the war. Sushi, it's a common sushi place. Not bad. You can see these taxis. These taxis are absolutely not representative of the typical taxis in Kyiv. Typical taxis are normally a lot nicer. These are just kind of like maybe tourist taxis. I'm joined here by a mate of mine from Kharkiv, from the school pub. Anton.
Hi guys.
Good. See, Anton moved to Kyiv. He got out of Kharkiv, obviously. It was a pretty bad situation. And when did you move to Kyiv? When did you come here?
4 months ago, I think.
So how long did you spend in Kharkiv?
For in Kharkiv, 1 week or one week and a half.
Oh, okay.
And there is this, yeah.
Then straight to Kyiv?
No, first to Poltava and then from Poltava here.
Ah, Poltava. And how long were you in Poltava for?
2 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's the situation like in Poltava? Oh, like back then?
Almost, I don't know, silence. Everything's okay, through. Poltava is a nice city.
Yeah, I was in Poltava last year, and that was actually kind of our plan to go to Poltava for a little bit. It seems to be pretty untouched so far, touch wood. And yeah, what do you think of Kyiv? How's life in Kyiv these days?
These days in Kyiv, it's pretty safe, and you can walk, you can hang out in a bar. So what we are doing with Danny,
that's what we're doing now.
I think that it will be the same, and I hope that we will stop all the shit as well in Kharkiv, and do the same in Kharkiv.
Yeah, me too. So Anton was actually in Kharkiv last week.
Yeah.
And how are things in Kharkiv these days? How was your week in Kharkiv last week?
It's not as safe as in Kyiv. Sometimes Russians are bombing our city, and it's a bit dangerous to walk a lot. But people are adopted to it. They're staying in their flats. They're hanging out in buses that are underground, and helping our army there. So I think people who stayed there will not leave the city, and they're pretty adapted to the situation.
Yeah, if they're going to leave, they'd have probably left by now. If they were going to leave, they'd have left by now.
Yeah.
Probably hopefully the worst is behind Kharkiv. So there's been some good news for Kharkiv, kind of in the last few days with
the Kharkiv region.
Yeah. So hopefully that means
they're occupied. They still can bomb from Belgorod, but that's the only they can.
Yeah, Belgorod's the Russian county, like 20 miles away from Kharkiv. That's the problem with Kharkiv. So even if they push them fully out of the Kharkiv county, they can still bomb Kharkiv from Russia quite easily. It's like 20 miles away. But hopefully, things are gonna start getting better in Kharkiv. Anyway, let's go inside. I want a beer.
Yeah.
Cheers, Anton.
Cheers.
Budmo. Good beer. So yeah, Maidan Square, 10 p.m. 1 hour till curfew. We need to get back soon. I'm back on the metro. But yeah, it's quite strange being in Kyiv these days. Like it's sometimes so normal, like absolutely how it was before. So for example, I just met a mate of mine, Anton. We had a couple of beers. Absolutely the same as it's always been. But then certain things you hear and see, it just catches you. Just kind of, you get lured into this kind of sense of, it's, you know, it's just been a bad dream, nothing's happened, like, back to normal, and certain things just jump out at you and kind of hit you by surprise. I suppose if you live here, you get used to it all. But for me, third day back in Ukraine, these kind of things still do jump out at me. For example, you walk down the street and there'll be a block post and there'll be the army with guns and camouflage and massive concrete blocks, or there'll be like burnt out tanks on a street still left there. But yeah, it's kind of surreal still to be back. This is Maidan Square. Yeah, for some reason the absolute central stations are closed in the metro. Kharkiv is fully sandbagged up. So yeah, I'm gonna have to walk to the other metro station. Should still make it back quite comfortably in time before the curfew. Got about an hour. And yeah, I'm not too sure what the situation is these days with anybody caught after curfew. I don't want to find out, of course.